It sort of lives inside of the people who you talk to, and it really is a way that they communicate with you. I liked Wonder Woman. I hadn't really thought about it in many years until this Me Too movement came about. It's one of those things that you put, in your rearview mirror. So, in 1976, Lynda Carter was just another struggling actress willing to do anything for a role. When Francis Ford Coppola offered her a part in Apocalypse, now she said yes to something that would haunt her legacy. She posed for photos that no major star would dare do today. But fate had other plans. A massive typhoon hit the Philippines and destroyed the film set. Carter had to leave immediately. What happened next launched her to superstardom as Wonder Woman. But those photos from the Philippines, they're still out there, hidden in plain sight. Lynda Carter was born on July 24, 1951 in Phoenix, Arizona, with the full name Lynda Jean Cordova Carter. Her heritage was a blend of Mexican, English, and Scots-Irish roots. Her mother, Juanita, had come from Salamanca, Mexico, and worked as a secretary while struggling with alcoholism. Her father, Colby, ran a small electrical contracting business that barely supported their family. They lived in a modest house worth about $8,000 in a working-class neighborhood, and the challenges of their mixed heritage during the 1950s shaped much of Lynda's early life. Casting directors later admitted they were unsure of her screen potential because her striking cheekbones and dark features didn't match the typical beauty standards of Hollywood. Yet, these same traits would one day set her apart and help her win the role that made her famous. Her love of performing began when she was only 5 years old. In 1956, she stepped onto a small stage at the Arizona State Fair, holding a microphone almost as big as she was. She sang the ballad Frankie and Johnny, a song that told the shocking story of a woman shooting her unfaithful lover. The unusual choice amazed the crowd, and the judges awarded her first place along with $25, which would equal about $280. Today, her mother had secretly entered her into the competition, hoping for a bit of extra income. That single performance lit a fire in Lynda, and she spent her childhood singing at church events, community centers, and even on local television shows. By 8, she was earning up to $20 each weekend, performing her favorite tune. How much is that doggy in the window? So many times she lost count. Those early experiences taught her how to command an audience. Years later, in 1972, she entered the Miss World USA pageant in Miami as the representative from Arizona. Many saw her as a strong favorite, but behind the glamour, the event was mired in corruption. Reports later revealed that bribes had been passed to certain judges, and winners were often chosen for their marketability rather than fairness. Lynda made it to the semifinals but left crushed, sinking into weeks of despair as she considered giving up entertainment altogether. She later described it as the most devastating moment of her young life. But in the end, that disappointment freed her from the pageant world and pushed her toward acting, where she could make her own mark. Before her breakthrough, she endured the harsh life of a nightclub singer. From 1970 to 1973, she performed 6 nights a week in smoky lounges and small casinos, first in Phoenix and later in Las Vegas. At the Torch Lounge in Phoenix, she sang for as little as $50 a night, often to an audience of only a handful of people. In Vegas, she landed jobs at smaller casinos like the Mint and El Cortez, where the pay was slightly better, but the conditions weren't. She shared dressing rooms with comedians and strippers, slept in a rundown motel, and sometimes needed steroid injections to keep her voice strong through the cigarette smoke. One night in Reno, a drunk threw a beer bottle that barely missed her head. The money was barely enough to survive, but those years taught her resilience and how to connect with a crowd. Lessons she carried into her acting career. Her personal life changed in 1974 when she married Ron Samuels, a powerful Hollywood talent agent 15 years older than her. Their lavish Beverly Hills wedding looked glamorous on the outside, but behind closed doors the marriage was controlling and painful. Samuels managed nearly every detail of her life, from her career decisions to the clothes she wore while taking a hefty cut of her earnings. He negotiated her contract for the Wonder Woman series at $5,000 per episode, but he kept an unusually large portion of her paycheck for himself. Over time, Lynda discovered he had been taking even more money behind her back. The marriage ended after 5 years, leaving her in a bitter fight to recover what she had lost, both financially and emotionally. Francis Ford Coppola was riding high after the success of The Godfather, and that success gave him the freedom to take risks with his next project, Apocalypse. Now one of his boldest choices was casting a young Lynda Carter in the role of Miss May, one of the Playboy playmates in the legendary USO show sequence. Carter flew to the Philippines in early 1976, where Coppola had a massive set built just for the scene. The idea was to capture the surreal moment of playmates entertaining troops in Vietnam, only for the excitement to spiral out of control. During her brief time on the set, Carter posed topless for a mock Playboy centerfold created as a prop for the film. The oversized photo, about 23 in by 11 in, was styled like a real magazine, spread with party jokes and filler text on the back. These images remain the only nude photographs of her entire career, which makes them a curious